Hello. Today's the 23rd of July. I just woke up to this mind-blasting article by Anna Von Reitz I wanted to share. It's music to my ears. I wanted to share the lyrics. She published it yesterday on the 22nd. It's titled Redefining Banks as Prosperity Institutions. And I'm just going to go for it and read it out loud. By Anna Von Reitz. She says, "Today I'm sharing the tips of my icebergs. The past couple months have been devoted to rather exhaustively discussing the problems and trespasses and crimes that have been committed against the living people by corporations, and setting this before the Vatican Chancery Court under ecclesiastical law for correction. It's been a tiresome and heartbreaking business of day after day and week after week recounting the genesis and history of one major fraud scheme after another, perpetuated by incorporated entities seeking to defraud and dehumanize living people for profit. These problems rightly reside in the jurisdiction of the air, from whence they've come and must return. Now comes the good part, because we've not been wholly concerned with the horrors of the injustices and thefts and denigrations visited upon us, without considering our repairs. You've all seen the problems, and now are owed the solutions. The first announcement is that our bank is a banking system. It's not just one bank in one state or one country. It well and truly is a global bank network of international trade banks, all operating on the land jurisdiction, coupled with sister commercial banks, all operating in the air jurisdiction. And this is why we call it a bilateral banking system. The two sister banks operating together occupy and interface with two separate jurisdictions, the international land jurisdiction and the global air jurisdiction. This is a super concept for people to just catch straight away. Two jurisdictions, land jurisdiction, air jurisdiction. Those people who have been griping and grumbling and saying, why is it taking so long? You need to understand that we are not and never have been talking about walking down to the corner, buying a building, and opening up a bank in a system you are familiar with. We've been busily building a totally new and different banking system involving multiple banks worldwide, and this has been a groundbreaking effort. Nothing about it has been turnkey. All of it has had to be built from the ground up. There are, for example, no central banks or equivalents to central banks in this system. Goodbye to the nastiness and the commodity rigging and unfair trade practices that go with it. Besides being on the land jurisdiction instead of the sea jurisdiction, and not adopting any central bank commodity rigging functions, our banks are linked directly and simply to each other. This is made possible by the Common Charter and Bank Treaty. They all share, and by unique computer-based interfaces that allow direct connectivity between bank portals. Come, sweetie. So she goes on to describe. No wire transfers, no games delaying or refusing transfers, no night window fraud schemes, no money laundering, no politics. All our bank functions and transactions are simple, direct, and transparent, so they're also effortlessly in compliance with national and international law. Okay, this is interesting also. Public and private accounts are separate as a first firewall for banking privacy, so that When you pay off a public debt, like a phone bill, it is linked to your public account and kept separate from private transactions, like buying yogurt. This allows you the ability to track public versus private spending at a glance, and it means that your private spending remains private, and the only one enabled to track it is you. No more having Big Brother monitor how much mayonnaise you bought in July and selling that information to consumer analytics firms behind your back. It may be a small thing in your mind, and you may not care if someone knows how much mayonnaise you purchase, but privacy is privacy. If you want to sell your own data, that's your business. It won't be your bank or your government doing it for you. Our international trade bank system also has a unique ability to connect directly with global commerce without going through the rigmarole of maritime commerce. Because our banks stand on a land jurisdiction, we can bypass the sea jurisdiction entirely, which means that the king's paws is not in our pocket, and the king's men have no right or reason to impose their complex regulatory system and tariffs on us. We are not using their system to conduct our trade or our commerce, so we owe nothing to them. We Americans and our American chartered banks also have another advantage. We have a fixed exchange rate established by the 1934 Emergency Banking Act. And this allows us to recoup all the incremental losses due to inflation of the fiat currency, payable in fine silver or gold. This in turn allows us to translate all fiat currencies into gold and silver and vice versa. We have the Rosetta Stone of banking and have solved what appeared to be an insurmountable obstacle separating trade from commerce and commerce from trade. Da! Sound effects, my own. There's no need for a separate BRIC system and a separate SWIFT or QFS system, and no need to choose sides, as our bilateral banks, coupled with our fixed exchange rate, can seamlessly handle it all to everyone's advantage. This is amazing. That's my commentary. As transactions back and forth between asset-backed currencies and fiat currencies occur, credit is restored and value is returned to the asset-backed currencies. It's a win-win, and everyone can take advantage of it. We are working with the Global Family Bank, as the gathering point for the nations, and inviting interested working groups, vendors, and individual lawful persons, known as people, to learn about and open accounts with the Global Family Bank. As each national bilateral bank comes online, those accounts belonging to people from that nation will be migrated to their bank, and they will have control of their own bank and connectivity to all the other bilateral banks in the system. Brilliant! Meanwhile, to get started, everyone from everywhere is invited to set up their own master account with the Global Family Bank. Your master account will serve as your own private portal into a whole new world in which banking is secure. The money has actual value. Public debts are offset. Transactions are simple and unimpeded. Your private information is private. Your accounts are not subject to bailouts or bail-ins. And life becomes a whole lot better because books are being balanced, corruption is being uprooted, and friendly communication between trade and commerce is restored. Link in the comments.